Hiya, it's Kerry from Mobilates with you here on a chilly, cold, wet, all the wintry weather today. Nice to be with you though. We are going to start getting ourselves a little warm up while I just talk us through what we're sort of expecting today. So you're going to need a prop. I've put cushions on my chair to remind you, we're going to use an extra cushion. So you might already have a cushion on your chair or ready for lying down later if you do the lying down part. But I'd like to have an extra cushion, one that you're happy to put your feet on. So it's not something too big because we're going to get a bit balancy with it, seated or standing. And if it's your first time today, welcome. We do a mix of things in this class, a mix of different positions, and you do what's right for you. So I go between standing and sitting for the first sort of 15 minutes, and then I'll move down to lying down, but I'll keep sort of changing and going into sitting because some of you would rather stay sitting and not able to get down. So you can choose what works best for you. That's the most important thing to do. And we're going to start with this little bit of rubbing or tapping or patting the body just for a bit of extra warmth, and so our body knows where everything is. When we get a bit cold and numb, you sort of lose the sensation of where different parts of the body are, especially hands and feet. We'll come to them. But just a little bit of patting and tapping and rubbing of all the parts of the body. And you can do a little wiggle here as well. I'm just wiggling my feet. It's making all the others move. You can wiggle inside your top, your jumper, your cardi, whatever you've got on. And you can be doing this with I've got my socks on. They're pretty thick socks. They're like walking socks. I like them extra thick. And they give my feet a bit of extra circulation. You might have your shoes on for indoors. Whatever your feet are used to, go for that. Right, we've done a little bit of warming up there. Let's give the feet a little wipe or a little stamp. Just something that's a bit of friction. And then I'm just going to turn to the side. And can you just about see my toes going up and down? So if you're doing this standing, it's just like you've come in and you're wiping your feet on the mat, and then one foot and then the other, and hold on to anything that you need to support your balance. And then we'll give our hands a little rub. Now, I don't know about you, my hands get really, really cold. White fingers. So they take a while. And then we're going to place our hands together in this prayer position. Push up and open out. Bring them together. Gentle push upwards and open out. Now this is just the warm up. So you might be making this smaller because that's more comfortable. You might be making this bigger because that's what you feel like today. There's a lot of comments going on here today. Let me just have a little look. Oh, I think that's Virtual Village Hall, putting all the links in. Who's with me today? Who's here from my regular crew, or are you a newbie? Feel free to drop your name in, maybe whereabouts you are in the country. I'm in Devon. I'm in Exeter. And as you're doing this hand movement, could you breathe in as your hands go together? And could you breathe out as they go apart? That may have just slowed your arms down slightly. 2 more. 1 more. And then let your arms come down by your sides. Oh, our cat is just coming through. She knows the heating's on. It's just sneaking onto the radiator. Right, turn your feet so that they're facing forwards. Your legs are about a book distance apart. And if you're standing, just let your knees soften a little. We're going to go into pelvic tilts. So breathe in. And as you breathe out, as that air goes out, can you let your belly just tighten very slightly? Just a bit of tension there. And then we're going to use that tension. We're going to sort of cuddle it back. So the change is from this to that. You can see that line of my jumper against the leggings. Just that little tilt, little tip of the pelvis, and it's a tipping. The belly muscles here, just do that small contraction as you breathe out, and then they breathe in and relax. And if you're doing this sitting, your bum is just rolling back on the seat, and then it's sat upright, rolling back a little. We're just getting into this lumbar part of our spine, our low spine. That's it. And then a little wiggle. And then a little wiggle of the rest of our body, just wriggling inside your clothes, whatever the baggiest thing is that you've got on, the loosest garment, just have a little wriggle inside that. And then we're going to grow a little taller and tap the back of our head, just enough for a little bit of sensation, and rub the bridge of our nose. And those two places, we take them back and we bring in our extra chins. Chins is probably plural. Give them a bit of love. And then with our chins there, we'll turn our heads side to side. Take your time, breathe normally, let your shoulders soften. And then come back to the center. And we're going to do a little tilt side to side, less than you can do. So we're not trying to put our ear on the shoulder, we're just going in that direction. That's it. And the face just stays ahead. Sometimes it helps to bring those prayer hands back and sort of pivot on your fingertips. Back to the center. And now we're going to give our shoulders some love. Little circles, maybe one side and then the other, especially if you've got different things going on in each shoulder. If it feels okay, if they're feeling all right, maybe you let your arms grow a little longer, they're not so close to the body, and you make these circles a little bigger. We can breathe in as we circle forwards and out as we circle back. That's it. And then we're coming back to these feet, give them another little wipe, and we're going to bring a cushion. So I'm bringing my little cushion here. I'm going to turn it over. And we're going to place one foot on the cushion. And you could have it all on the cushion. I'm going to do it so that the front of my foot is on the mat and the back is on the cushion. I just want something different under your foot. And then this other foot is on the floor. Exactly the same seated. And just have a little shift side to side. And then we're going to start to raise our heels. It's almost like you're going for a little walk, but not all your feet are coming up. So just alternating heel raises. That's it. Keeping your hips really steady. Now, if you're on the chair, your hips will be steady from the seat. If you're standing, you might want to put your hands on your hips just to keep. So we're not looking for that. We're keeping all this really still. And the knees go a little bit more forwards. Now we're going to place both feet down. And we're going to do both heels up, but your arms will be going in a different place. If you're sitting, put them on your chest. If you're standing, somewhere out at the sides to help your balance. And your balance is a bit different because we've got one foot on something. And one more. And then take your foot off there. Maybe give your legs a rub, have a little wiggle. And we're going to swap around. So the other foot's going on. This time I'm going to put my whole foot on this one. So I feel slightly higher on this side. This leg's a little bit bent. If I was sitting, it would look like this. So again, this leg just feels slightly raised. And we're going to do one side and then the other first. And then both sides. Now the arms can go on the chest. Could also stay on the thighs like that. If you are standing, your balance is a little bit trickier here. So this is where the arms coming somewhere out to the sides, or you might be touching something as you do this, like a wall. And one more. Whoa, that's a wobbly one. And then we're going to come down, move the cushion away from our feet. You might put it behind you if you're seated, away from your feet if you are standing, and have your legs wider. Now something for the arms. A soft arm. So the palms curved inwards. I'm going to come up and then push out to the side. Same again. And then I'm going to put my hand on my hip and bring this other arm out. Keep my hips exactly where they are, my feet where they are, and just have a little lean, like I'm pouring, like a watering can, and up, or a teapot. If you're seated, your buttocks stay equally balanced on the chair seat. And then bring the arms down, have a little wiggle, let them go forwards and backwards. And then place the arms down. Now this arm's coming up, turning and pushing away. Maybe a little wiggle of the fingers. And then the same again. And now this hand is going sort of around the hip, a bit like a handle. The hips are staying still. This hand's checking on the hips. And this arm's going outwards. This is sort of like the spout. Keep your feet down. Keep your hips still. A little bend over. And we're really trying to get the opening up here, the stretchy feeling. And coming up tall in between. One more. And then take our arms, make it a little swishy and turny. Let your hips move with you. If you're sitting, it can look like this. It can also look like this. This is good if you want a smaller range of movement for waist rotation. So if you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia, this is a way to get some waist rotation, but not make it too big a twist. And then we come back to the center, and I'm going to show you in seated first. The legs are wider. You want a comfortable width apart for you. If your legs go like this as they get wider, I want you to do it at a place where you can keep your knees sort of over your ankles. So if this is your limit, fine. If this is your limit, fine. If this is your limit, fine. It's just find the place that works for you. We're going to lean to one side. Could even turn that foot a little bit if you want to for seated, and then lean to the other side. Option to do that if you're seated. If you're standing, we're going to lean. The feet are going to stay where they are for standing, and the spine is upright. That's it. I'm trying to send my knee over roughly my second and third toes. It's a little hard to view from here. So what I'm really looking at is that my knee is not doing that, which is sort of coming on the inside. I'm sending it outwards there, right over the foot. Sometimes little guiding hands just on the inside of the thigh or both sides of the thigh just to feel where it's going. Right, now we're going to add in an arm movement. So we're going to sweep an arm over. Back to the center, sweep the other arm over. And the same again. And then we're going to go overhead. It's a bit like you're painting the ceiling. Now, if that's not comfortable for you, you could either make it lower like a little wave, or you could stick with moving across the body. That's the last one. And then we're going to come low. So if you're sitting, hands on your thighs, hinged forward, straight back, and just have a little side to side wriggle. If you're standing, send your hips back, lower your bottom, hands on your thighs to give you some support, and a little side to side. And keep your gaze, don't look at me, because that's sort of the back of your neck will get a bit squashed up. We're looking slightly ahead and downwards. And then we come back to the middle. We're going to push into our feet and come straight up. Bring the hips forward, and have a little wriggle. Bring the feet in. And then infinity hands. So we're sort of looping like a figure eight. You can keep this quite small. You can make it bigger. We can take the legs wider to give us a bit more balance support. And you might want to move a bit. move more than your arms. So for this, I'm going to show you from the side. If you're standing, it can look like this. If you're sitting, wide legs again. But if that's too much, stay upright and just keep it to the arms, and they could be really small or bigger. Just watch out. I always start knocking my plants over and things like that. And one more. And then either sit back in your chair, get a cushion behind you and have that other cushion ready, or you might be taking yourself down to a mat on the floor or blankets on the floor, or maybe on your bed. So it's time for that little transition. I'm just, oh, hello. I can't see all the Facebook comments today, but I can see now Jackie and Christina here, and Irene is with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always nice to know that I'm not by myself. I'm just going to move things around. Going to get my head cushion, and I'm going for a big squishy cushion for the other cushion. Again, we are going to put our feet in it, so it's something you're comfortable putting your feet on. So we start just getting yourself settled. Maybe you're sitting right back on your chair. Give your back a little rub against the back of the chair. Let your legs have a wave side to side. If you're taking yourself down to the floor, it's a bit colder down here. You might need to take a bit of time. When you get there, and there is no hurry, we always do something really sort of still and gentle at this point to give everybody lots of time to get down to the floor. So when you get there, you can see my legs just having that little sway. And just the same for sitting, feet on the floor, let your knees just go slightly to one side, slightly to the other. And then we could do this with our head. Now, if you're sitting, you haven't got the support behind you, but just small head turns. If you're lying down, really let your head roll on that cushion that's supporting you. And then we come back to the center. Hands somewhere on the low belly. And let's take a few breaths in and out. So send the breath to your back against the back of the chair and the cushion, to your back against the mat. And then let the air come out. You can let it come out through your mouth, your nose. You can shut your eyes if you want to. And another couple of breaths like that. Maybe making the exhale just a little bit longer than the inhale. And on this next breath, when you breathe out, we're going to tip into that pelvic tilt, pubic bone towards your low ribs. Now, you can change your hand position here. You could have one hand on your belly. I've got my elbow sort of on the floor. And this other hand on the bottom of my ribs, just where they stop. So it's almost like adding a little bit of weight there. Take your breath in. And as you breathe out, keep your ribs down and let the belly sort of come towards your ribs and then tip away from it. So it's like you're making this distance between the two hands shorter and then longer. Same sitting. So if you're sitting, you're just the same but in a vertical position. So the hands, even if I'm sitting on the mat here, can start like this, and then you can see they come a little closer, and then they're going further apart. And then let that go. Have a little wiggle side to side if you're sitting, and if you're lying down, that same wiggle on the back of your pelvis there, just wriggly sensation. And then we're going to start drawing circles. So imagine the very end of your spine, the tailbone. And right at the end of the tailbone, you're going to start making this circular sort of shape. And you can see it's sort of undulating and wriggly. So you can, again, close your eyes if that helps. And take it the other direction. Sometimes that takes a while. And then let everything rest. And if you're lying down, you might be like me and your feet have come closer and closer. I'm just going to walk them away a little bit so that they're more like right angles. So we're all really in the same position, whether you're in a chair with the support under here or lying down with the support underneath your head and your spine. We're going to place a hand against a thigh. And if you're sitting, you're going to just float your foot off the floor. If you are lying down, could you float that leg up to a tabletop position? So we've all got our hand on here now. We're going to lift this leg towards our chest, just a little bit, and then let it go. Raise it just a little, let it go. Your hand is resisting. And one more. And then let that leg go down, let both legs have a little sway. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to show you the seated variation. It's virtually the same, but looks slightly different. So I've got my hands on this side. It could be both hands. I'm going to just hover my foot off the floor. And then I'm trying to lift it a little higher, but my hands are going, oh no. And then let it go. Lift it a little higher. You can take it down to the floor in between if you like that. If you're lying down, just the same, but you're in this tabletop position, so that leg stays up in the L shape and then trying to come towards your chest. And one more. And then let them go. And extend one leg and the other away from you and circle your ankles or any curvy sort of shapes you can get, any wriggles, any waves of your foot. And then we're going to grab our cushion and place it under a foot again. So that's the hard bit, particularly if you're lying down, getting the cushion in the right place. So I've got one foot on a cushion. Just going to move that a little bit further forwards. And the other foot next to it, but on the floor. Now the foot that's on the floor, that's going to stay, that leg's going to stay still. I'm just going to rest a hand somewhere on the thigh so I can feel if that leg's going and sort of wobbling. And this is the leg that's going to be doing some moving. So the first thing we're going to do is keep that foot, just really nestle it into the cushion. Maybe give your toes a little wriggle so you can sort of get a sensation of what's underneath your foot. Keep that sensation and let the knee go out to the side, but don't let the foot change. Bring it back. So you're not letting the foot do that and sort of go with the knee, just the knee and thigh, just opening up a little and then coming back. Trying to keep this leg still. That's the really hard one. This one, I bet you've all got this sus, but this leg's going and have a little wobble. So I'm just going to put my hand on it there. It's okay. Now we're going to change this leg. We're going to let it roll right out to the side of the foot, but we've got to keep these hips and the belly really still. So I've got my hands here now, just so I'm checking on this, but my foot's going right onto the side, onto the cushion. And I'm trying not to wobble this leg, work in progress. And then let both sides just have a little sway side to side. And the cushion's going over to the other side. Doing the same thing. So first get your foot on it. I'm just trying to plump my cushion up so I can really sink into it. This foot's still and on the floor. I'm going to put my hand on this leg. It's the leg I'm trying to keep still. This leg, I'm going to concentrate on my foot, just having a little wriggle into the squishiness of the cushion. I'm going to keep that sensation in my foot and let the leg just go a little out to the side and then in. Keep that foot exactly as it is. One more. Now I'm going to let the foot go out to the side. You might find the movement gets a little bigger, but this area here, we're going to keep this still. Both my hands are on my hips for this one, because it just helps me keep that focus really still. There's definitely tension across here. Hopefully not tension up here though in your jaw and your neck. And I'm trying to keep this leg still, but you may see that it has a little wobble from time to time. And last one. And then that cushion's done. Now you could bring that cushion and place it on your belly for a little bit of sort of extra feedback. So this cushion's feather filled, but it's not very heavy, but it's just a little something extra on my belly. If you're seated, it won't work because we're going to be moving our arms and the cushion will sort of get in the way. So don't worry if you're seated, you could have a cushion behind you to give you a little extra support in case you want to lean back. Now we're going to lengthen away. We've been doing lots of outwards sort of movements. We're going to do away. So the leg, one leg lengthens away, opposite arm lengthens away. And then we're going to bring them back. But I'm going to keep this cushion really still. I'm trying not to wobble it as I lengthen them away. So there's definitely tension on the abdominals. That's it. And it's something you really need to concentrate just to keep this from sort of doing this and going side to side, just to keep it super, super still. You can see why in a seated position doesn't work with your cushion on the front. But what you can do in seated is really pad your back up in your chair. And then you might be able to lean a little back as you do that same movement. Now that's only if it's comfortable for your back, but it's certainly asking quite a lot more of your core muscles here, your abdominal muscles. But I've got a little stack of 3 cushions there and a 4th cushion just to give me something to lean, lightly into. One more each side of those. And then take the cushion off and go back to the pelvic tilts. Excuse me, I can feel that one coming. I'm just flirting with the cold slightly at the moment, I think. It's definitely giving me a bit of a fizzy nose. We're just back to that tipping. You can put your hand on your ribs and your hand on the belly and really think about this top hand sort of sinking downwards a little and the bottom hand coming towards the top hand. And then we're all going to come up to a sitting position. So if you're lying down, you might want to roll onto your side first, or you might come up from this position. I'm going to come up from my side. And we're going to have our legs a little wider. So they could be like this, and we could just do a little opening and closing. They could be like this, and we could put a bit of hand support behind us and just let our feet come in and out. Now I'm just starting to bring my toes up towards the ceiling, up towards my knees, and just have a roll in and outwards. And I think I'm going to go a little bit wider. You could also, if you feel like your back, if you're sitting on the ground, if your back's sort of slumping like this, we've got all these cushions, we can give ourselves a little bit of extra height and lift the hips up. So now I've made a nice little tower for myself. Oh, that's better. I feel I can be a lot more upright. Right, now let's play around with our feet a little bit so we can lengthen them away and bring them back. Lengthen them away and bring them back. And then we'll do a little wriggle side to side. And then we're going to have a little lean to one side. Or stroke down your leg or your thigh if you're sitting. And a little lean. As I lean, I'm sort of tilting away slightly. That's it. One more each side. And then we're going to give our shoulders a shrug. So as you breathe in, shrug your shoulders upwards. As you breathe out, let them melt down. Breathing in, up they go. Breathing out, melting downwards. And one more. And then we take our palms out to the side and scoop up the air. Bring your hands to whatever height works for you and then bring them into your chest. You may want that little pat down again. You may want that little rub just to keep everything warm. I'm just going to give Buffy a little stroke here. She doesn't normally come in and join me here, but because the radiator's on, she's making a special exception. I shall see you again next week. Have a good week, everybody. Look after yourselves, especially if it's a little bit cold where you are. And I'll see you soon.